isn't able to join us, they can watch. So I'm looking here. This is a problem that I copied this directly from my lab, and I just did a little copy and paste. And it says we have 14 different video games, and how many different ways can we arrange the games side by side on a shelf? Okay, so really what I'm doing here is, remember, I'm going to have 14 games. So look, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, and how many different ways can we arrange the 14 video games? So remember, in the first spot, I can put 14 games, right? Because I got 14 video games. Once I've picked one, now I only have 13, and I'm going to keep kind of playing this game, right? So really all I'm doing here, Ruth, is I'm figuring out how many ways can I, like how many different games can I put, say, in the first spot, right? Well, I can put 14 games, but once I pick that one, now I only have 13 games for the second spot. Once I pick that one, now I only have 12 games for the third spot, so on and so forth. And really what I'm doing here is I'm just multiplying each of these numbers, right? And so really this here is just going to be 14 factorial. So I'm just going to do this on my calculator, and I'm not sure if you saw how I was doing this on my calculator. So let me share that part with you as well, just so you can see. And let's see. Okay, my calculator's coming up here. All right, let me turn it on. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go 14. I'm going to hit math, and I'm going to hit probability, which is that one at the top right. So to do that, I'm just going to use my right arrow button, and I'm going to go down to number 4. So there's my factorial button, right? And then when I hit enter, whoa, we end up with this massive number. Let's see. Let me see how my lab wants me to enter that in. Let's see. Oh, let me try something here. 14. Let me check my answer. No. Okay, so they want me to enter in the exact number. Okay, so let's see if we can do this. So on my calculator, the number that we came up with was all of this right here. So this e to the 10th just means that I'm going to move my decimal 10 spaces to the right. So let me see if I can write this down on my notes, and then I'll show you how I'm going to do this. So it's 8.7178291. So 8.717, let me see, 82912, 82912. Okay, so let me stop sharing that, and let me come back here. And Cynthia, I see Cynthia's coming in as well. Okay, so the way I have, this is how the answer was written, and they had that e to the, I think it was to the 10th, yeah. All that means is it's times 10 to the power 10. So what this means I'm going to do is I'm going to take my decimal point, and I'm going to move it 10 spaces. So this should give me, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it should be 8, oops. It should be 8, 7, 1, 7, 8, 2, 9, 1, 2, with 2 zeros at the end. That should be my answer. And so, let me see. Let me come back to my answer here. And let me stop sharing that. And I'm going to share my monitor, my screen, so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. Let's see. I heard something in the chat. Let me check what I heard. Okay, so great question. How do I know if I'm going to move the decimal to the right or the left? So in my problem, Ruth, if that little, and I'm going to share that. Let me stop sharing this part real quick so that I can show you. Let me see. Here we go. I want to show you how I know whether to move it to the right or the left. Okay. So here's my calculator again. If you see that's e to the 10th, if the number to the right of the e is a positive number, I'm going to be moving my decimal to the right. If the number next to the e, to the right of the e, was a negative number, then I would be moving my decimal to the left. Okay, and that's just this is what we call scientific notation. Scientific notation is just a way to write numbers that are really, really, really big or really, really, really small, right? And so that power, that e to the 10th, that's going to be my exponent. That's why there's an e there. So if my exponent is positive, I'm going to move to the right. If my exponent is negative, I'm going to move to the left. So excellent question. I'm going to come back over here, and before I do my answer, I want to show you. Remember the number that we came up with, right? So if I look at this number, let me start putting my commas just so that we know like how big of a number is. So let's see. This is 87,178,291,200. So this is obviously a really big number. That's why the calculators start writing numbers with that e to the 10th or e to whatever number, because we're writing numbers that are either really large or numbers that are really small. So again, let me show you how I'm going to enter this in on my lab. So let me come back here one more time and go here and there. Okay, so I think we can see that now. So we had 87178. Oops. Okay, so I had 87178. And then, let's see, I had 291. 291, and then it was a 200 after that. And I'm going to go check my answer, and we got it. Okay. So again, even when I did this on my calculator, gave it to me in scientific notation, I'm just going to write it down and then start moving my decimal. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Let me do another problem here again out of 3.4, and we'll see if we can't figure this thing out. And again, if there's any questions y'all might have in particular, let me know, and I'm happy to go over those as well. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to copy this one here, and I will paste it in my notes. And then I'll share my notes with you guys so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay. So let me come back over here. Let me stop sharing this. And Cynthia, I'm glad you could join us. I'm just going over a couple of problems directly from the homework out of 3.4. And so, Cynthia, if you got any questions in particular that you want me to go over, please let me know, and I'll be happy to go over those. Okay.
Do have it. I was looking for the exercise so I can tell you exactly which one is the one that was giving me a hard time. But you can go
Okay.
on with the explanation right now. I'll let you know when I find my exercise.
Okay, sounds perfect. And then, Ruth, to answer your question, how do I know how many decimal places a decimal point can move? It can move as many places. So whatever that number to the right is, whatever number that is, that's going to tell me how many spaces I'm going to move. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at this next problem here. And it says, outside of a home, there is an 8-key keypad with letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H that can be used to open the garage if the correct 8-letter code is entered. Each key can only be used once. How many codes are possible? Okay, so again, I'm going to look at the problem here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So we have 8 letters, and each key can only be used once. So again, I'm going to do this problem just like I did the other one. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So remember, this is for the first spot, the second, the third, so on and so forth, and the 8th spot, right? So remember how many letters we have. We have a total of 8, right? And we have to enter in an 8 code or 8-digit or letter code in here, right? So remember, for the first spot, if I have 8 letters, I can choose from any of those 8. But I can only use those letters once. So suppose the first time I choose the letter F. Now I only have 7 letters to choose from, right? And then suppose I pick C. Now I only have 6 letters to choose from. Suppose we pick G. Now we only have 5, so on and so forth, right? So I'm doing the same thing we did before. So remember, the way I'm going to do this on my calculator, I'm going to do 8 factorial, right? So I know it's an exclamation point, but it doesn't mean I'm yelling out like the number 8. 8 factorial just means really this is the operation that we're doing, okay? And again, the reason why I want y'all to know this on the calculator is because it's going to be a lot easier, right? So again, let me stop sharing this part here, and I'll come back and I will pull up my calculator. Let's see, here we go. And let's see. Okay, it should be coming up now, so let me clear this out. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go 8. Then I'm going to use the math button. I'm going to scroll over to the PRB, right? I'm going to go down to number 4 because that's where my exclamation point or my factorial is, right? So I'm going to hit enter again. And this number is not so big. It's 40,320. So I'm just going to share my screen with you now with my problem, right? And so here's my problem, and I'm going to enter in 40,320, check my answer, and we got it, okay? All right. So I'll tell you what, let's try this next one. It's a little bit different, but we're going to go about it the same sort of way. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste this one here, also in my notes. And again, I just want to make sure you guys are feeling okay about some of these problems. So let me go ahead and copy this, and I will place it in my notes so you guys can see my screen. Go. And place this here. And let me come back over here. Let me stop sharing this. And let me share this one. Okay, so it says there's 42 runners in a race, and how many ways can the runners finish first, second, and third? Okay, so I want you to notice something here. We're only looking at the people who are going to place first, second, and third, okay? So how many runners do we have? We have 42. That means that we have 42 choices to pick for first place. But then once somebody wins first place, now there's only 41 runners, right? And then once that person gets second place, now there's only 40 runners. So again, what I'm going to do here, y'all, is I'm going to multiply those three numbers out. So again, I'm going to grab my calculator one more time. And let me see, let me come back over here. Where's my calculator? Okay, here we go. And so I think you guys can, yes, I think you can see it now. So we said we're going to take 42 times 41 times 40. Go. And I'm coming up with 68,880. Okay. So again, one more time, I'm going to stop sharing this piece, and I'm going to share my my answer here. And let me see, I just forgot what we got. 68,880. Okay. So right here, I'm going to type in 68,880 like that, and we're going to go check our answer, and we got it. Okay. So, is that making sense on how I'm doing some of these problems here out of 3.4? Ruth, I know you said you struggled a little bit with 3.4. Am I going over some of the problems that you felt were a little tricky or difficult to understand? You doing okay so far? All right. Cynthia, were you able to find the question that you were struggling with?
Yes, it's the exercise 3.1.
Okay, 3.1. Do you remember
Yes,
which question it was?
yes, it's the question number 18. It's the one about the frequency distribution.
Okay, so let me pull up that question. You said it was from 3.1, and it
Yes,
was number 8, right?
18.
18. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the frequency
18.
distribution.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so let me go ahead and let me do the same thing here. I'm going to copy this one and I'm going to paste it for us. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Okay, so let me copy this here, and Minimize this and come back over here. Okay, paste this here. Okay. All right. And then now let me go ahead and share my screen with you
Mm-hmm.
so you can see what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Okay. So so Cynthia, here's my problem, and it says, okay, the frequency distribution to the right shows the number of voters in millions according to the age. Consider the event below. Can it be considered unusual? And it says, excuse me, a voter chosen at random is between 18 and 20 years old. Okay, so um, let's see. Give me one quick second. I'm going to pull up my notes for 3.1. Actually, you know what? I have them over here somewhere. So my 3.1 notes should be here. Let's see. Okay, so here's my 3.1 notes. I'm going to look for something real quick, and I will come back and take a quick look at what we got. So give me one quick second. And I will tell you. So give me one second. I'm going to look for something here in my notes. Okay, so what I'm going to do here first in this problem, y'all, is I need to find my total frequency. Okay, so the way I'm going to find my total frequency is, and actually, you know what? Let me go back to the problem that we were doing. So let me see. I lost it. Let me see if I can find it again. Here we go. Okay, let me come back to our problem that we had over here. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to find my total frequency. And the way I find my total frequency is I'm going to take all these numbers here and I'm going to add them up. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my calculator with you guys so y'all can see exactly how I'm doing this one. And let me go like this. So where did my calculator go? Here it is. Okay. So I think, yeah, my calculator's coming up for y'all. And so, y'all, what I'm really doing here is I'm just going to take these numbers and start adding them up. So the numbers that I had in my problem were 5.9 plus 8.4 plus 21.8 plus 25.7 plus, let's see, 16.8 plus 62.6. Okay, so the total that I came up with was 141.2. So let me stop sharing this part again. Let me come back to share my notes. And we said that our total frequency was 141.2. Okay. So now, if we're going to choose a voter at random, and that voter is going to be between 18 and 20, what we're looking for is what's the probability that the voter that we choose is between 18 and 20? Well, it's 5.9 out of the total 141.2. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to divide this out on my calculator. Okay. And so let me grab my calculator. I'm just going to do this real quick, y'all. I'm just taking 5.9 divided by 141.2. Okay. And so the number that I'm coming up with is 0.0417. 0.0417. Okay. Now that I came up with that number, and we're looking for, can the question is asking me, can it be considered unusual? Okay. So the way I'm going to figure out if whether or not it can be considered unusual, I'm going to come back over here, y'all. I'm going to go back and reference my notes from 3.1. Here we go. And it says right here, an event that occurs with a probability of 0.05 or less is typically considered unusual. Unusual events are highly unlikely to occur. So that means if I come up with a number that's 0.05 or less, then it is considered highly unlikely, right? So when I come back over here and I say, okay, let me look at my problem again, and let's see, look at the number we came up with. This number is 0.05 or less. So we would say yes, because the probability is pretty close to zero. So that would be my answer for number 18 out of 3.1. So again, I want you to think about this for a second. What did we do? The first thing we said is, let's find our total frequency. The way we found that is we took all those numbers right here in that column and we added them all up. And then what we're going to do from that point is we're going to find the probability by taking the number that we had in our 18 to 20 group and dividing it by the total. And then anytime we come up with something that's 0.05 or less, then we would say, yes, it's unusual. And if it was 0.05 or less, then we would say it's not unusual.
So when did we consider number D? Letter D, yes, the probability the event is close to 1. When it's more than 1.
Okay,
Point
so
or
number
less.
one, my probability will never be more than one. It might be close to one, but it wouldn't be more than one. And so yeah. So what I would say is basically, as long as it's 0.05 or less, then I'm going to say yes. And then I would say if it's not 0.05 or less, then my only other choice would have picked this one here, because it's not close to zero. So if my answer, I'm going to make this up. So like, look, I'll tell you what, let's do the same problem, but instead of looking at the 18 to 20-year-olds, suppose we pick the 25 to 34, I'm sorry. So if I said, look, let me look at the probability from the 25 to 34, I would then take 21.8 and I would divide it by 141.2. And the number that I would come up with, I'm just going to do this again real quick on my calculator. I take 21.8 divided by 141.2, and the number that I'm coming up with is 0.1543. That's the number that I'm coming up with, right? But again, the thing that's going to tell me whether or not it's going to be considered unusual would be this part. And I would say, look, 0.15 is not 0.05 or less. So then in that case, Cynthia, I would have chosen part B, because I would have said, no, it's not close to zero.
Okay. Can we also
Yeah.
do one of the 3.1, but can we try question number 13 with the dice?
Yes, ma'am, upstairs. Yeah, definitely. Let me look at, and let me share my screen with you guys real quick. So let me stop sharing this one here, and let me come back one more time. Here we go. And so we said the answer here was choice A, right? So we're going to check our answer, and we got it, right? Okay, I'm sorry. You said the other one was number 13, right? So let me pull up 13. Here we go. Okay, and so I'm going to copy and paste this one as well. So let me do this one here. And let me go, here we go. Let me copy this. And let me paste it in my notes, and we'll do this one as well. Okay, so now I'm going to stop sharing this part here. I'm going to stop sharing that. And come back to our notes. Here we go. Okay. All right. So this question here says a probability consists of rolling a fair 12-sided die. What is, or find the probability of the event below, rolling a number that's divisible by 5. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention, if we have a 12-sided die, that means that the numbers that we can end up with when we roll this die are going to be these numbers here. And let me do this a little bit. There we go. So those are the numbers that we could possibly get. Okay. So when we're going to figure out our probability, we know that our denominator is going to be 12 because those are the different 12 numbers that we could choose, right? Now, the question is saying, what's the probability that when we roll this 12-sided die, it's going to land on a number that you can divide by 5? So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, look, out of those 12 numbers, how many of them can I divide by 5? Just those two numbers, right? Those are the only numbers that you can actually divide by 5. So we're going to have 2 over 12, which is 1 over 6. And then since the question is telling me, go ahead and round it to 3 decimal places, I'm going to take my calculator again. I'm going to say, what's 1 divided by 6? And I'm coming up with 1.67. I'm sorry, point, there's a little mistake here, 0.167. 167. And this is what my answer would be. And so again, let me share my screen with you guys so y'all can see exactly what it is I'm looking at. Excuse me. Okay, so here's my answer, and we said we're going to put 0.167, and we'll check it, and we got it. Did it make sense, though, Cynthia, how I did the question, though? How I kind of wrote out my numbers and then asked myself, which are the ones that I can divide by 5?
Yes, I get it now.
Okay,
It was very
okay,
easy, but
excellent.
it was hard for me to do
Okay,
it. But thank you.
yeah, no, that's
I'm
okay. I
gonna
just
be
want to
looking
make sure.
for another one also that I was having a hard time, but I don't know if Ruth or somebody else have another question for you while I'm looking for my other question.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's just the three of us. Ask me the question. Ruth might have it too, but ask me that question. I mean, guys, y'all are equally important. So what's the other question you had, Cynthia?
Let me look for it.
Okay,
So
okay,
I'll let you know.
perfect. Okay, as you're looking for it, Ruth, did you have any other questions? Do you wanted to ask me about anything? I see somebody else is here too. We got Eric. Eric's in the house. How you doing, Eric? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I don't know. I think your mic's on, but I can't hear what you're saying. But Eric, if you got a question, please you can ask, or you can throw it in the chat box. Same thing with Ruth. If you got a question, you can always ask me, or you can. I think Eric's reconnecting. Yes, 15 on 3.4. Okay, so let me pull that one up too. And Eric, really, what I'm doing here, Eric, I'm just going over questions that everybody had out of some of the homework problems here. So let me pull up number 15 from 3.4. And let's see. Okay, let me do a little copy and paste here. That's okay. Here we go. Copy this here. And so right now, y'all, I'm going to do, excuse me, I'm going to do number 15 out of 3.4. And then, like I said, if y'all got questions, please let me know, and we'll definitely go over it. Okay, so let me stop sharing this, and let me pull up my notes. No time for us. Here we go. And so let's see if we can figure out number 15 from 3.4. All right. So the question here says, a warehouse employs 28 workers on the first shift, 18 workers on the second shift, and 12 workers on the third shift. 8 workers are chosen at random to be interviewed about the work environment. Find the probability of choosing exactly 2 second shift workers and 2 third shift workers. Okay, so let's see if we can do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. Excuse me, shift 1, we have 28. Shift 2, we have 18. And shift 3, we have 12. Okay, so the first thing I want to know is what is the total number of workers we have? So what I'm going to do here, y'all, I'm going to just take those numbers 28 and 18 and 12 to get our total, plus 12 to get our total, and we have something like 58 workers. Okay, 58 workers, and we're going to choose a total of 8 of them. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do for y'all, I'm going to do my denominator. So my denominator is going to be 58, choose 8. Okay. All right. And so the question here says, find the probability of choosing exactly 2 second shift and 2 third shift workers. Okay, so from the second shift, look how many we have. Let's see, I thought I heard something in the chat. Let's see. 1, 2, and 10 for 3, 4. Definitely said, yeah, I'll get there. Yeah, we'll definitely do those. Okay, so exactly 2 second shift workers. So from these 18, we're going to choose 2. And the third shift workers, from these 12, we're also going to choose 2, right? But remember, we're going to choose a total of 8. So that tells me that the other, because right now we've picked 2, we've picked another 2, that means we're still missing 4. That tells me from the other 28, that's where we have to pick those 4 from, okay? And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this part on my calculator, y'all. And so let me stop sharing the screen, and then I'm going to share my calculator so you guys can see exactly how I'm doing this on my calculator. And let's see, let's go like this, and get the calculator going. And yes, you guys can see this. So let me clear this out real quick. And okay, so let me see. What do we have? I'm gonna write it down, guys, exactly like I wrote it on my paper. So I'm gonna use parentheses. 18 math probability. We're gonna choose 2. Oops, that's the wrong way. Sorry about that. Let me start again. 18 math probability. There we go. We're going to choose 2 times, let's see, 12 math probability into, there we go. We're going to choose 2 again times, let's see, 28 math probability. We're going to choose 4. Okay. And all this is being divided by 58 math probability, choose 8. Okay. And I'm going to hit enter. And so the number I'm coming up with is 0.1078. I'm going to write 0.1078. I'm just writing this on my paper. And let me share my screen with you guys again. Here we go. Okay, so the number that I came up with was 0.0178. And I'm going to look at the directions on the problem. And the directions here actually tell me to round to 3 decimal places. So if I was going to do this to 3 decimal places, I'd probably put 0.108 like this. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Let me see, come back over here. Let me share this one here. And I think you guys can see this now. So I'm going to type in 0.108. Let's go chickadee check. And we got it. So Ruth, did that make sense and how I was able to kind of talk my way through how to do number 15 out of 3.4? So
Yes.
when it's telling, okay, great. When it's telling me like, so the one thing I really wanted to mention here is like the first thing I noticed was that we were going to pick 8 people, right? But then they told me 2 of them are going to come from the second shift and 2 of them are going to come from the third shift. Well, that's only 4 people. So that's telling me automatically that the other 4 have to come from that first one. There's no other option because if there's 2 coming from the second and 2 coming from the third, and we're going to pick a total of 8, then the only other option I have is, well, 4 of them got to come from shift 1. And so that's why I'm writing out this problem the way I'm writing it, okay? So good deal. Let me stop sharing this one here, and I know that, let me get to that. Let's see. So Cynthia, you had 1, 2, and 10 from 3, 4. And Eric, it's any one time if you got any questions, Eric, let me know, okay? Let's see, 1, 2, and 10 from 3, 4. Okay, so let's pull up question number 1, and we'll see. Okay, so Cynthia, I'm going to show you how to do question number 1. Let me do a little copy and paste here. Okay, and so let me copy this here, and let me paste this in my notes so we can see what we're looking at. Okay, and let me do this again, and let me share my screen so you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at. Okay, so I think you all can see this. So Cynthia, this question is telling me evaluate the given expression and express the result using the usual format for writing numbers. And notice what it says right here, instead of scientific notation. Okay. So let me show you. This is really a calculator problem. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop sharing that, and I am going to share my calculator again so you all can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to clear it out. So remember what we had? We had 48, and then with a permutation of 2. So I'm going to hit 48. I'm going to hit math. I'm going to go over to the probability, and I'm going to select the second one because I'm doing the permutation. And then the number we had that we were picking was the number 2. Okay, so here's my answer, 2256. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys now so y'all can see what I'm looking at. Tab, here we go. And so right here, I'm just going to enter 2256. I'm going to go chickadee check, and we got it, right? So let's see. What was the other question? Let me see. We had number 2. Okay, so here's number 2. Actually, perfect. Okay, so look, just like I did before, I'm going to share my calculator so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So look what we have. We have 7 choose 3 divided by 11 choose 3. Okay, so let me share my calculator so you guys can see what it is I'm looking at here. Come back to the calculator. Okay, so we had 7 choose 3, right? So I'm going to clear this out. The only thing I would probably do, y'all, just because I think it makes it a little bit easier to understand, I'd probably use parentheses. So I'm going to type in what we have at the top. 7, math, go to the PRB. Now we're going to use the combination. So it's the third one. So I'm going to go down. And the number that we're choosing is the number 3, okay, divided by, and I'm going to do parentheses again, 11, math, PRB. Again, I'm also going to choose the number 3 in this case as well, because that was the same number we had. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and enter it in. And so if you notice what I'm coming up with 0.21, 21, 21, 21, right? And I'm going to show you what the way it's written on my lab, okay? So let me come back here. Let me share my screen with you guys again. Okay, so I think you guys can see this now. So if it tells me to round to the nearest thousands, the thousands means it's going to be 3 decimal places. Remember we had 0.21, 21, 21 like that? I'm only going to go to the third. So the third is that third 2 right over there, right? So I'm going to erase, erase, erase. There's my third decimal place. I'm going to go chickadee check, and we got it, okay? So let's see. I think we had, Cynthia, am I doing okay so far?
Yes, it's just that I really need to know my way around using the calculator.
Yeah. As I'm doing it, is it making sense?
Yes, yes. I'm just gonna
Oh,
put
perfect.
I
Yeah.
need to learn I will write down the steps to using the
Okay,
calculator. Because using the
excellent. Yeah.
calculator, I mean, that's the only way that we can get the answers. It's just the little
Yeah. For
steps that we
these,
need to take.
yeah, for these problems, Cynthia, they really are calculator problems. So I think you were in the session that we did when we were reviewing for test 1, and I was telling you guys, listen, guys, your calculator is going to be like
Yes.
your best friend for these problems, right? Because a lot of this stuff, I can do it using the formula, and I can do it like multiplying, but it would
Mhm.
take me so long to do. And so, yeah, understanding how to do the steps on the calculator becomes really helpful.
Mhm.
So, Cynthia, while I have you here, did you have an actual calculator, or were you using one of those like calculator apps?
I'm using both. It's just I'm having hard time
Okay.
using the calculator because it's supposed to be like a generic for the one that you ask for it,
Uh huh.
but the steps are a little different. So I'm trying to
Okay.
use both the one that you
Okay.
told us and the one that I have. But I was having a hard
Yeah.
time doing those steps, but I get it now.
Okay. Good. And at any point in time, Cynthia, if you got questions, just send me a message on Pronto, and I'll get
Mm,
back to you right away.
thank you.
So I just want to make sure that you're okay with this stuff. Yeah, because especially for some of these problems that do ask us to do the calculator stuff, um, it does become kind of tough to do. Okay. So look, let me share my screen again with you guys, and I want to make sure that okay. Let me stop sharing this one here, and let me share the next one here. And I think somebody put something in the chat, so I will check this as well. Uh, yeah. So Eric, one thing I would tell you to do. I don't know if you have an iPhone or if you have an Android. So if you have an iPhone, that Graphic Calc 83, it used to be free. Apparently now it isn't. There's another one. So the Graphic Calc, I'll put it this way: Graph and Calc 83 is free on Android, and there's another one called Calculate 84, and it's free on iPhones, iPads, right? iPads, etc., that kind of thing. And both of them work exactly the same way. So every single thing that I'm doing, like on the calculator that I'm sharing with you guys here on the screen, y'all, and whether I'm doing it on the calculator or whether I'm doing it on the app, whether I use the Graphic Calc 83 or whether I use the Calculator 84, the steps and how I'm going to enter in or how I'm going to do that, they're all going to be the same. Okay. So I don't want y'all to fret too much about it because the process or the way I enter the numbers in or the keys are going to be exactly the same. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Let's take a look at the next problem. So it says a class has 28 students, and how many ways can 6 students form a group for an activity? What's really important here, y'all, is that they're telling me that the order of the students is not important. Okay. So before I go on, I'm going to mention 2 things. We so far, like in the problems that we just did a little while ago, the ones that Cynthia asked me about, and I'm going to pull those up real quick. So remember when we did this one here with the permutation, and then the other one we had something like this, and I don't remember what the other part was, but it's not really important. In this one here, the order is important. In this one here, the order is not important. Okay, so for permutations, order is important, and for combinations, order is not important. Okay, so let's take a look at the problem we have. We have a total of 28. That's going to be my first number, and we're going to select 6 people. Since they're telling me that the order is not important, we're going to use the combination. So out of the 28, we're going to select 6 of them. And it's not asking me for a probability. I want you to notice what it's saying. It's just asking me how many different ways. And look what they tell me. It says type a whole number. Okay. So guys, again, let me show you how I'm going to do this both on my calculator and on my calculator app. Okay. So again, regardless of which one I'm using, y'all, whether I'm using that calculator or whether I'm using that calculator app, I'm going to do it exactly the same way. Let me turn this thing on. Let me clear this. I'm going to go 28. Okay. Then I'm going to pick math. So y'all, since I want to get to the PRB, there's 2 ways I can do it. I can pick the, let's see, here we go. I can get the, where is it? Here we go. I can hit this one 4 times, So if you see it 1, 2, 3, or 3 times, I'm sorry, or if I was right here and I want to get to the PRB, I can hit this one once. So look, there it is, right? And now I want to get to number 3 because you said the order was not important. So I'm going to go down 1, 2. I'm going to select that. And the number that we were selecting was 6, right? And then I'm going to just hit right there. I'm going to hit enter. And so if you notice the number I'm coming up with, it's 376,740. Okay, so let me stop sharing this screen here with y'all, and let me come back and share the actual problem. And I think you guys can see it. So it's 376740. So 376740, and we're going to go check, and we got it. Okay. So let's see. Are these making sense now that we're kind of going through a couple of these?
Yes.
What do you guys think? Yeah, yeah. So guys, one thing I was noticing, say, the homework is supposed to be due on Tuesday, right? And we're doing a lot of stuff from chapter 3 right now, and so I don't want you guys to feel like, oh my God, I have so much work to do by Tuesday because there's still for 1 and for 2 and for 3, and there's a quiz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the deadline days. So instead of the homework being due this Tuesday at midnight, I'm going to make them do a week from today. You're going to have basically going to have 2 more days.
Appreciate it because, like I was telling you, I'm having a hard time using the calculator because
Yeah.
it's kind, it's kind of new for me.
Yeah. No, I
and,
understand
and
completely.
there's little steps, that I need to, learn or make a note
Get
of
a little
myself.
familiar with. Yeah, definitely. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, y'all. I'm going to make everything due by. I'm going to make everything due by next Thursday. Okay. Now remember, next Thursday we're going to have a class session as well. So what I really want you guys to do is between now and next Thursday, make sure that you watch the videos. If you got to watch it more than once, or like watch the steps on how I'm doing the part of the calculator, do that. But at the same time, if you're like, sir, I'm stuck on this problem and I don't know how to do it on the calculator, just take a picture of the problem, send it to me, or you can just tell me, sir, it's number 2 out of 4.1 or whatever happens to be. Send me, just tell me which one it is. I will do it. I'll make a video of it, and I'm sending them out, guys, on Pronto. Guys, the one thing I wanted to mention, because somebody said this in my class the other day. Let me stop sharing this part here. Somebody had mentioned this the other day in my class, and they were like, sir, it's really hard to watch the video when I'm doing this on my phone. And I was telling them, like, guys, you don't have to watch the video on your phone, right? So look, y'all can see my screen, and if I click right here on Pronto, and I think, okay, let me share that one with you guys too, because that one's not coming up. Let's see, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so you can see right here. Here's our class, right? Somebody, Evelyn replied, saying, "Yeah, please record it." She's at work, definitely. But I want to show you something right here. So like, here's the problem that I did earlier. You can click on this one here.
All right, so guys,
and let me pause that real quick, and let me stop sharing that one. And again, I'm just going to share it again so you guys can see. Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. Okay, and now I'm watching it on my laptop, and I can, do the full screen and all that kind of stuff. So you can watch it there, right? So guys, the point that I'm really trying to make is that the Pronto app, the reason why I wanted y'all to have it on your phone is so that if I send you a message, you can kind of see it easily without having to log in through Blackboard or whatever. But if I do send out a video, I don't want y'all to try to watch this on your phone. It's too small for you to see. So just, when you ever get a chance, log into Blackboard, click on the little Pronto thing in our Blackboard page, and you'll be able to access it there, right? Now you can watch it on your full screen, and it's easier to see and all that kind of good stuff. So I don't know. I'm telling you all this stuff because, I wear glasses. I'm 48 and all that kind of good stuff. So I try to watch the video on my phone. I can't do it. You guys might have better eyesight than I do, but anyway, just want to let you guys know about that stuff, okay? So again, I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do real quick live because I want y'all to believe me and not think I'm making up stories with you guys here. So let me do this. Let me come back over here. Let me come back over here. Okay, and let me do this. Here we go. So I'm sharing my screen with you guys. So again, if you can see 3-1, 3-4, 4-1, 4-2, or yeah, 4-2, 4-3 in the quiz, we're all going to be due by Tuesday, right? So I'm going to change that. I'm going to change those so that they're due by next Thursday, and then I'm going to send out a message um, letting everybody know on Pronto that hey, I've extended these deadlines right here. Here's two. Here we go, and we're going to make these all due a week from today, which is Thursday. Selected. Let's see. Update it. Okie dokie, right? And now if I come back over here and I click on assignments, I want to make sure you guys can still see this. Yes, you can. And let's see, where are we? Here we go. So now you can see right here, these are all due on the 7th, right? Which is a week from today. So that gives you a couple extra days, right, to kind of get the stuff done. And guys, what I'll probably start doing is I'll probably start making everything due on Thursday, so this way we got some time, okay? So again, you still got a few assignments left to do, but again, remember you got a week to get them done. So take your time, but make sure you try to get as many done as possible. And then next Thursday, y'all, what we'll do the same thing we did this afternoon. I'll answer as many questions as I can to kind of help you guys get through this stuff here from 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, whatever it happens to be. Okay. Does that sound good to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, Eric, we good? Eric, awesome, great. Okay, so guys, I'm going to send out a quick message on Pronto letting everybody know that I've extended the deadline dates until next Thursday. We'll do another class session then. And guys, since I'm going to stop recording this already because we are pretty much